it's Becca Hilburn here. Happy Inktober. Hopefully this will go up before October ends. For those of you who don't know what Inktober is for every day in October you're supposed to ink something. And it's very popular with comic artists and illustrators. In fact, there's a hashtag, it's just hashtag Inktober on Tumblr, on Twitter, on Instagram, where lots of artists are sharing their stuff. Today I'm going to do a video inking tutorial for you guys, but I'd like to start out by showing you what I've done so far. So today is like the 20th, the 21st, so I have, there we go, there's the zoom. I have that many inked pieces, and my goal for this Inktober, it was to ink with a brush, because I ink with a brush pen all the time for my blog, and I don't ink with a brush as often. And in November, I'm going to watercolor these. These were done on watercolor paper, partially because I really like the tooth of watercolor paper, but also because I wanted to be able to paint them in November. And I chose to do mostly fan art because it's sad to say, but people have an emotional resonance with fan art that they might not with original art. And I also wanted to work on developing like a bee art style, which is a little more cartoony, a little less anime inspired, something that's a little more gestural and focuses less on being anatomically correct and more on capturing a pose or capturing a person. And it's really easy to do that with fan art because I'm not coming up with a character design. That said, today I will be inking an illustration of my character, Kara. She's an 11-year-old little girl. She's 7 inches tall, and she's from my ongoing watercolor comic, 7-Inch Kara. You can find out more about that on my blog or on my website. Oh, sorry. I have a new setup. It involves a camera arm that holds my camcorder so I can work at my desk. I'm not hunching over anymore. So this is kind of an improved version of the tutorial, or I'm sorry, the speed video that I shared prior. Well, prior to you guys seeing this video. It isn't up yet. Alright, so we're going to go over materials first for inking before I start inking for you guys. And the inking portion is going to be fast forwarded. Ow. Alright, so since I'm using watercolor, or I'm going to watercolor these in the future, I'm using a Sumi ink, and this is Kuretake Black Ink 60. And before Inktober, I'd never used it. I like Winsor Newton India ink the best. I'd happened to run out before Inktober started, and I didn't feel like buying another bottle when I have 6 bottles of ink, different kinds of ink for testing purposes in my drawers. So I opted to go with what I had. And the brush I'm inking with is a Creative Mark Rhapsody, and it's from Jerry's Artorama. I do have some Winsor Newton Series 7s. Those tend to be people's favorite go-to inking brush. I don't particularly care for it. It has longer bristles than the Creative Mark Rhapsody. And if you guys will excuse me for a second, I'll actually pull my one of my Series 7s out. So you guys can see. And this one is a size 5, which is a lot larger than what I normally ink with. I usually ink with a 0, a 1, at biggest a 2. So these are the 2 brushes. As you can see, the Creative Mark tends to have a longer handle. That's fine. The Series 7, at least this Series 7, has a nice large handle. I wish brushes didn't get much thinner than this in terms of handle, because I'm 29 and I have arthritis already. And I'm sure there are a lot of other artists who would appreciate bigger handles. Anyway, the Creative Mark tends to be cheaper, and it has shorter bristles, so you're less likely to get a really expressive line, but that's good for me because I'm really heavy-handed. This looks like ink, but it's actually relatively clean water in a little juice container that I cleaned out. I like it because it's squat, it sits low on my desk, it's harder to knock over. I probably should dump the water out and replace it with really clean water soon before it turns into ink wash. And here is my inkwell. If you are working with ink that isn't in such a squat container, you may want to transfer it over. But I think I've talked about how to do that on my blog. And this is some cardstock, and you want the cardstock just so you can get the excess ink off. And you also want a paper towel so that when you clean your brush off, you can get the excess water out before you dip into your ink. Alright guys, so that was how I inked this piece. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, or why don't you tell me what you're doing for Inktober this year, or what you did for Inktober this year, and I'll check it out. So I hope you guys have a good day. Bye!